excellent artists. In this art activity today, you're going to learn how to make a symmetrical design. We're going to use a cat as our main focus. And if you've looked at the rest of this activity on Seesaw, you may have noticed that I have some examples from other famous artists, Romero Britto, Paul Klee, and Lauren Birch. All have examples of cats that you can do. We're going to use abstract cats, which means they're not going to be super realistic, but we are going to make them symmetrical. So what you're going to need today is a crayon, a piece of paper, and something that you can rub your paper with. I sometimes use the back handles of a scissors or a spoon or a marker. I'll show you what I mean. So grab your supplies and let's get started. I'm going to teach you kind of a cool technique that you can do with crayons, or if you have oil pastel, it would work too. It even can work with pencil. It's just a little harder because pencil is such a thin line. You'll see what I mean when we get started. So what you need is your paper first, and you're going to fold your paper in half, okay? And remember, push down in the middle first, and then slide your hand from side to side. That'll keep it from twisting and getting off. Now, if it gets a little crooked, it's really not that big of a deal, as long as you have it really, you follow that fold in the middle. So I have a handout here, which you may have seen as part of this Seesaw activity as well. You'll notice that it only shows half of the cats. And I based these are cats that I drew. You don't have to copy them. You could freeze the frame right now and try to get all of those in there. But artists, you don't have to copy these exactly. There is room. I use these kind of based off of those artists that I was talking about. There's room for you to be creative here and make your own style of cat. I just use those kind of artists as a point of reference so that we will get some ideas for our own. But feel free to use some of your own ideas as well. So what I like to do is after I have my paper folded, I am going to take a black crayon. Now, if you don't have a black crayon, you can use oil pastel as well. Yeah, not many people have that at home. So that's why I'm using my crayon. Now, if you don't have the color black, use dark purple or dark blue. So a nice dark color like brown would also work. You want to make sure it's dark enough for this, and you'll see why in just a moment. So what I'm going to do is I like to start with the face of my cat. And my goal is to try to fill up the majority of this paper. But here's the trick. You only have to draw half of the cat. Yes, that's right. I said only half of the cat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my crayon on the fold. That's where you want to start. And remember, I am going to start with the head. Now you could draw, you're only going to draw half of the head. If you want to have a nice round head, if you want it more flat on the top, that is up to you. You can look at those artists for reference and inspiration, but it is really your design in the end. I think I'm just going to kind of curve down a little bit. You're welcome to copy me, but the trick is not to make the head too small. And if you're wondering how big mine is on my paper, I left a little room so I'd have room for the ears, but I did and left some room for the body, but it is not a small head that I am drawing. I'm going to draw the ear just so I don't forget. And I'm going to draw a nice triangle. You'll notice that I am pushing pretty firmly with my crayon, and that is important. All right, I think this is a good place for us to stop because this is why we're only drawing half. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this, okay? Now, if I open it up, nothing is different. But what you want to do is find something hard that you can press with. You don't want to use your fingers. You can tell I've been painting today. You don't want to use your fingers because if you push with your fingers, it will get really hot and can even give you like a little paper burn. You can use the back of scissors, the handle to rub. Sometimes I've used a marker. If you're at home, maybe you could use like a spoon. But what you're going to do is you're going to take something that is nice and hard, and you're going to really push on the paper. Now notice my hand is kind of holding it in place, and I'm pushing right on top of where those crayons lines were on the other side. Nice thing about this paper that I'm using is I can kind of see through it just a bit, which makes it easier so I know right where to push. Now I'm going to open it up, and here comes the cool part. You'll see an image printed on the other side, and it pretty much matches what I drew over here. The only difference is it's a little bit lighter. I'm going to go back and fix that in a little bit, but I just want to work on designing my cat. So I was looking at the example of Lauren Birch, and what I noticed about her cat's eyes is they had almost human-looking eyes. So I'm going to draw kind of my version of a Lauren Birch eye, cat eye. Of course, it doesn't match hers exactly because I am not Lauren Birch. You can kind of mix up these artists. I kind of like to do one part at a time, rub it, so that I don't forget that I don't draw the other side. Oh, wonderful. Now I'm going to do a nose for my cat. Just go down. I was thinking of Lauren Birch, so remember, I'm only drawing half and then rubbing. Now, some people like to draw half of the cat all the way through and then go back and rub. I don't know about you, but I kind of like to see what it's looking like. That way I can change and make adjustments if I need to. I have a nice happy cat here. Maybe I have some dots for Whiskers. You don't have to have any of this. Maybe, oh, I think I will put some eyelashes on here just for fun. Okay, now you don't have to do that either. See, I'll use the side of my crayon handle just so you can see how that works, or my scissor handle. All right, and you can see that's working. So I'm gonna do, I saw Romero Brito's, and he liked to kind of add bow ties or collars to his, or fun like little things on here. So I'm gonna do half of a circle. I'm gonna do like a little bow tie, like Romero Brito's cats. That's right, I'm mixing it up. I'm using Lauren Birch face and inspired Romero Brito here, and I'm gonna rub that. Hey, if you are using a scissors to rub with, make sure you're being super careful of the blade here. You want to have it closed, and be careful with that. You don't want to poke yourself. All right, that's why markers work great too. So if you're nervous about that, ooh, I love it. All right, so I am going to add, I think, front feet, just like this. I'm gonna do, that's why I was thinking of Romero Brito. I'm gonna do his body, kind of like a Romero Brito cat. I don't really know what it's gonna look like till I get it all. Wait, I'm gonna do, I like the marker better, I think. I just feel safer a little bit doing that. You do have to be careful not to tear your paper. That would be tragic at this point. All right, I'm going to add some toes in here for my cat. Now, I said we were making abstract. These are not realistic pictures. They're not looking like a photograph. They're basically almost like a cartoon. Cartoons are abstract too. So abstract means you're using basic shapes and lines to get across your idea, not worrying about making it look real. That's what abstract means. I'm gonna leave off the tail for right now, just because if I do the tail and then I rub, it's going to have two tails. And I don't know about you, two tails on my cat, that's a little strange. So I'm going to, now that I've got the main parts other than the tail drawn, I'm going to now darken in the other half, and I will show you what that looks like when I'm all done. All right, so I've darkened in all of the lines for my cat. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to put some designs in here so that later on when we start adding color, which we're not doing today, so don't get carried away and get excited and do that. What I'm going to do right now though is add some extra designs to this, but I still want them to remain symmetrical. So if I wanted a polka dotted tie, I'm going to put my polka dots over here and then fold. Now, like I said, if you want to do all your designing at one time, I just find this gives my hand a little break in between. All right, and maybe I will have stripes on the ears. Maybe I'm gonna do some hearts on the body. No, won't be too long. Valentine's will be arriving. I'm only working on this half. I almost started drawing over here. So be careful of that. It's easy to make that mistake. If that does happen, I recommend that you just don't fold over, or if you do fold over, just don't rub in that spot. Oh, I gotta do the ears up here. All right, and I feel like the face needs something too. I'll have to think about this for a minute. Oh, maybe I will add a little tongue, like a little tongue coming out here. It's kind of a cute idea. Sometimes with just a small little spot, I'll use the smooth part of my fingernail and just scratch at that. Then you can see that. I'm gonna start darkening in this while I think of if I want to add any more designs to my cat. I'll show you what this looks like when I'm all done. So I've got the designs drawn there. I think I am going to add something else. I think maybe some lines on the nose here. A couple extra things. I think I'm going to add some whiskers. You don't always have to have whiskers. All right, now that I have the designing part all done, I am going to make the decision to put a tail in. Now, you don't have to have a tail. If you like it just the way it is, you could leave it because, you know, the cat's tail could just be hiding behind and might not be able to be seen in this picture. However, if you want to put a cat in, this would be a good time. You have to decide, do you want it on the left side or the right side? It really doesn't matter to me. You're going to start with a line. Now, cats' tails are going to be not straight. They're going to be a nice smooth. You want to curve them maybe just a little bit. And it's okay if your whiskers are there, just go right through them. Now, when you've decided it's long enough, I think that's long enough, I'm going to turn and make a sharp curve here. And now I'm going to start looking back at the line and making the other side of my tail. If you'd like to add designs in this as well, you can. Maybe I will add, maybe I'll add a curvy line just for some fun. This kind of does remind me a lot of Romero Britto's cats. He likes to add patterns in his. Part of the reason I'm adding a lot of pattern is so that when we do color next time, we can add lots of different colors. And I'll give you some choices about how we add color next time. But until then, I want you to save your paper and don't lose it, because next time is the time that we start adding color. All right. Remember, your cat doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You see that artists like Romero Britto, Lauren Birch, and Paul Klee all do their cats differently, and so do I, and so should you. So just remember that cool trick about keeping it symmetrical. Fold your paper, rub it, and it should work out to be perfectly symmetrical. The only thing not symmetrical might be your tail. All right, have a fantastic rest of the day. I can't wait to see what you've made. And until next time, goodbye.